Hello you fine people, Brian for the VR Grid here, and today we're taking a side-by-side look at the PSVR 2 and Quest 3 versions of Zombie Army VR. If you enjoy this vid, don't forget to like it, and on that note, let's get to the action. So right off the hop, you'll notice that both versions of the game look surprisingly similar, and I was surprised by that as well. Now the PSVR 2 does feature dynamic lighting and greater texture quality on some parts of the game, but for the most part, this can look identical at times, which you'll see going forward. For instance, as we approach this shooting area downstairs in the tutorial section, you honestly can't really tell which version's which, and you'll have to excuse the frame rate on the Quest side. Trust me, it runs perfectly fine. It's just the way it recorded lower frames. And I will say that while the Quest version of the game is clearer, the game is muddy enough and kind of, monotone, where that clarity didn't really help it too much. And I kind of found the PSVR 2 version, even with the mirror effect, looking just better overall, even in regards to clarity. You see the lighting on the soldier guy there. Like I said, it's dynamic on the PSVR 2 side, which is nice. When you do notice it, it does make things look a little more real. You'll notice on the ground as well, texture qualities, everything else is just improved upon the PSVR 2 side, but you're not missing much. I mean, the game does play identically across both headsets, so you're not missing out if you choose one version or the other. Here's the sniper section here. Like I said, you'll see this, if you pause this, you'll notice it's almost impossible to tell which version you're looking at. It looks identical, minus, color palette swaps here and there and nuances. But like I said, for the most part, it's the same looking game, which is, I was surprised by. I expected there to be more improvements on the PSVR 2 side. I thought, given the power of the PSVR 2, the fact that Rebellion was making this, and these are the guys that did, publish Sniper Elite, and one of their sub companies did actually develop this. They took it from XR Games. Xreal, one of the two, I can't remember offhand, and kind of started their own little VR division, it looks like. That was the Sniper Elite VR team. So you'll see here once again, looks so close that there's not much to compare. You'll see some more shadows in this next little bit here on the fruit. You can see obviously all the items are kind of floating above the table, so the shadows aren't quite aligned where they should be, which I thought was kind of humorous. And it does kind of suck when you see stuff like that, just because it does ruin that immersion. And in cases like that with the pulsing shadows on the PSVR 2 side, it's almost better if the shadows weren't there, because it does, it does take away from the realism of it all, for lack of a better, term. We climb the stairs, you'll see in the outdoor levels that the fog is a little heavier on the Quest side. They just have to render less that way, and running on the mobile chipset, that makes sense. It didn't bother me in my play, no matter which one I was playing on. But in side-by-side, you can see there's just a lot more happening on the PSVR 2 side at times. Get a melee action here. Something that disappointed me is the fact that even with any melee weapon, there's no gore effects. So even though I'm bashing heads in, my weapon is clean, which, it's a little thing, but to me it kind of tells me this game was probably rushed to get out the door as fast as possible after the previous devs had to bail on the project. I mean, I'm assuming this game was put together, I would say pretty much from scratch. I'm guessing in the last, 8 months since the new devs took over. Here's some combat. It's all right. It's just basic. I don't want to slag the game too much. In my play, I haven't beaten the game or anything. It's a pretty stock zombie shooter. If you're not fighting zombies that you run into, then you're fighting off hordes, which we've seen a bit. It's fine. It's fun. If you played in Arizona Sunshine, you're going to like this. If you're looking for a game with more depth, this isn't really that. It's definitely more of an arcade shooter than anything else. I'm looking at the flag on the left-hand side here because it's not moving. In fact, the environments are incredibly static, disappointingly static, I'd say. If I throw a grenade at zombies and there's a corpse on the ground, the zombies will blow up, but the corpse will stay the same. You'll see that later in the video, actually. And even the melee hits, it just feels like I'm just doinking them and their heads are popping off or their arm will pop off. It's not satisfying. it's there. It's. I appreciate obviously mainly in a zombie game, but it just feels undercooked. I'd say a lot of this game feels undercooked. It's serviceable, and it's not a bad game. It just so far hasn't surprised me once, and it feels like you've been there and done that before in pretty much any other zombie shooter or even just regular shooter. I mean, Sniper Elite. This feels so much like Sniper Elite at times, minus the zombie thing, right? So you see some indoor sections here. Once again, they look fairly close, other than some subtle lighting changes, some subtle textures. You're not missing much, man. It's crazy how close these versions are, and I really hope the developers do hopefully stay on this game and maybe patch in some visual improvements. It'd be nice. I would justify the PSVR 2 headset having it look that much better, and it does look better, but I still kind of expected more, especially from the developer, because the Sniper Elite game, this is an older reference now, but compared to the Quest version, I thought the PSVR and obviously the PC version just really excelled compared to the Quest version, whereas here they're a lot more parallel. And now obviously because it's being built for the Quest first, given its most popular headset, even though sales seem to point that games sell better on PSVR 2, generally speaking, I expected more. Anyways, here you'll see I throw a grenade at these zombies here right away on the PSVR 2 side, I believe, and they're eating a corpse. The corpse is on the wall there, and boom, zombies are gone, corpse remains the same. So stuff like that, like I said, it does ruin immersion. It just reminds you that you're playing, a pretty basic zombie shooter VR game. But once again, not a bad thing. It's just, like I said, you've been there and done that before. As we approach the last minute of this video, we'll get to another zombie horde thing where the walls are blocked off. They'll just keep coming through until you're done. In these modes, there's always like an ammo box nearby, so you're never like screwed when it comes to these encounters. Here's your ammo box here. You can just go and scoop up the ammo just by pressing one of the face buttons or a trigger button. It's kind of a goofy system. A lot of this game does feel like it's half-baked, like it's serviceable. Everything is serviceable. Everything works like fine, but it just feels basic. There's no backpack. You just have to press X and it brings up a little satchel on your screen, which works. The melee works. The gunplay feels all right. I mean, the haptics are in both versions. The haptics are better on the PSVR 2 side, but I honestly didn't really notice that much like significant. I don't feel like the haptics aren't being used fully on the PSVR 2 side. And on that note, as we wind this thing down for the last few seconds, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Zombie Army VR. If you're gonna buy it, let me know. If you're not gonna buy it, let us know. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching.